Hey, welcome to Insights. I'm going to look at today at Deuteronomy 9. I feel like I've been a little bit uncreative the last couple times I've done this. I think I've gone straight from whatever's been in the Crossroads app for the scripture reading that day. In case you haven't looked at it, I just think the Crossroads app is fantastic with giving me a part of my time with God every day. There's a way for me to keep my prayer list in there, which I do. There's a way for me to have a scheduled chunk of scripture, a way to journal on it, and as well as just a bunch of other features. It's just fantastic. And I thought today's chapter of Deuteronomy 9 was just a really good one. Let's just read parts of Deuteronomy 9 and blow it out a bit. Here it goes. Deuteronomy 9, chapter 1. Hear, O Israel, you are to cross over the Jordan today, to go in to dispossess nations greater and mightier than you, cities great and fortified up to heaven. A people great and tall, the sons of the Anakim, whom you know, and whom you have heard it said, who can stand before the sons of Anak? Know therefore today that he who goes over before you as a consuming fire is the Lord your God. He will destroy them and subdue them before you, so you shall drive them out and make them perish quickly, as the Lord has promised you. God gives the nation of Israel the responsibility and calling to go over and fight a war, to go and specifically dispossess somebody from the land, somebody who is stronger than them. What gets me about this is I'm really comfortable doing things that I know that I have the resources for. I'm okay to have things on my to-do list that I know that I can do. I'm okay to have some goal in my life that is incremental growth, and we can always squeeze out a little more for some sort of incremental growth. But when there's something that is absolutely larger than me and beyond me, one, I don't like that. And two, I like it because it means that I need God. What in your life are you out of your league in? Where are you in over your head? What is on your calendar that you know that you cannot do? Because until those kind of things are on our calendars, we're not in the place with our God where we need to be. Because those are the things that drive us to our knees in humility. Those are the things that when they get done, our faith gets built. Your faith never gets built making another cup of coffee, because you know that you can do that. But when you are going to tutor a child at risk, when you are going to make plans to put your child through college when you have no idea where that money comes from, when you are going to start a nonprofit, when you're going to walk across the street to a neighbor who's had a cancer diagnosis, and you're going to walk over and you're going to pray for them, and you've never done that before, and your neighborhood is an unwarm relationally neighborhood, people have just not done that, and you're going to be the one that's outside of your realm. You're conquering something larger than you, and you're going to need God. And when you walk back over on the other side of the street, your faith is going to be bigger. You're going to be more secure in your relationship with God. Verse 4. Do not say in your heart, after the Lord your God has thrust them out before you, it's because of my righteousness that the Lord has brought me in to possess this land, whereas it is because of the wickedness of these nations that the Lord is driving them out before you. Not because of your righteousness or the uprightness of your hearts are you going in to possess their land, but because of the wickedness of these nations, the Lord your God is driving them out from before you, and that he may confirm the word that the Lord swore to your fathers, to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob. So Joshua was saying, it's going to work. You're going to have victory. But you got to be really careful here, Because if you don't have your spiritual wits about you, you'll think, boy, didn't I do that? Wasn't that great on my part? Yes. Man, I guess I can do anything I put my mind to. Joshua says, remember, it's not because you're a great person that's going to happen. It's because these people are wicked, because God had a need to blot these people out. It's about the purposes of God and a bigger view that he sees, not your own self-made goals you just want to believe in God in. Are our goals self-made, about glorifying us? Or are our goals the things that break the heart of God? Jesus says, my Father is always at work up to the present time, and I too am working. So we need to see where God is working and go be a part of that instead of dreaming up something big that'll look really good in our social media channels. And it continues and says this. Where was I? There it is. Verse 5. I think this is where we'll stop. This is maybe my favorite part. This is really cool. Here we go. Verse 6. Know therefore that the Lord your God is not giving you this good land to possess because of your righteousness, for you're a stubborn people. Isn't that funny? It's like God says, note this, Brian. God's not blessing you with things because you're a good guy, Brian, because actually you're a stubborn son of a gun. That's what he says to Israel. You're stubborn, folks. There's nothing in you that impresses God. This is something that God needs to happen for his purposes. That'll give us some humble pie. Remember, and do not forget, how you provoked the Lord your God to wrath in the wilderness. From the day you came out of the land of Egypt until you came to this place, you have been rebellious against the Lord. Even at Horeb, you provoked the Lord to wrath, and the Lord was so angry with you that he was ready to destroy you. When I went up the mountain to receive the tablets of stone, the tablets at the covenant that the Lord made with you, I remained on the mountain 40 days and 40 nights. I neither ate bread nor drank water. And the Lord gave me the 2 tablets of stone, written with the finger of God, and on them were all the words that the Lord had spoken with you on the mountain and out of the midst of the fire on that day of assembly. I'm sorry. I said Joshua in this little devotional. I'm sorry. It's not Joshua. This is Deuteronomy. This is Moses. So Moses is talking there. And then Moses talks about 40 days and 40 nights. Moses is reminding them that he's had a unique encounter of God. But this is the part that I wanted to spend some time on. A bit later on, this is after the nation of Israel, because they're a wicked and stubborn people. They have forsaken God. They've built a golden calf. They've gone after a false image of who God is. And now, while God has this vision for them to go do things that they can't do in their power and they need God for, now God has to discipline them and say, you know what? For 40 years, you're going to wander around the desert, and the only people who are going to go in are Joshua and Caleb, because they're the only ones who had faith that it could happen. The rest of you, we're going to wait for you all to die off until the next generation comes up. So that's the context of this next section. And it says this. It says, and I can't find it here. Just a moment. Excuse me. Boy, it's kind of embarrassing when you're doing a Bible study on an actual chapter of the Bible and you can't find exactly where it is. All right, well, this is live TV, so I got to stay with it. I don't want to just summarize it for you. Okay. Embarrassing. I can't find it. You know why? I don't know why. It's in here. I'm just glossing over with it. Or else it's in Deuteronomy 10, which I might have read ahead. But here's what it says. It says that as they were wandering around for those 40 years, their clothes never wore out. Their clothes never wore out. It's one of the things it says. This is a really interesting imagery of how God provides for us. Even when we're wandering around in a desert season, even when we feel like we're being disciplined by God, even when we're unsure of what our future looks like, God is still providing for us. He's still blessing us. So while these people couldn't go to Walmart and buy new clothes, they also didn't have to make new clothes, because God supernaturally enabled the clothes that they had to last for 40 years. I find that's the way it is with how God oftentimes blesses me. I don't get some lottery check out of nowhere and I hit the lottery. Especially because I don't play the lottery. If I did, maybe I would. But I don't get some check out of the lottery out of nowhere. I just notice, man, there's been a blessing of God. Like, I got the sniffles right now. I don't know if you've noticed it. I got sniffles that are happening with me. Happened right over Thanksgiving. Whenever I have a little cold, it reminds me of the blessing of God, because, like, I never get sick. Like, never. I've been at Crossroads for 22 years. I've never had to miss a weekend because I got sick that weekend. I never have. And I think in 22 years at Crossroads, I probably missed work because of cold maybe 2 days. I can remember one day. So I'm just guessing there's probably twice as many times. That's the blessing of God. That is. It's oftentimes the calamity that God keeps from us that's the blessing of God. It's oftentimes the things that we take for granted, like our friendships, our health, the country we live in, some other such thing. It might be worthwhile for us to just do an inventory of what blessings of God do we have that we're so accustomed to, we're so used to, that they don't even seem miraculous. It's like we're entitled to them. Yeah, we are entitled to them when we're in the family of God, because we have a Father who loves us very, very much, even stubborn, rebellious kids like me and like you. So think on these things. Get after something in which you need the presence of God. Understand it's His business, it's not your business. And notice the blessings and the presence of God through that entire journey. Great being with you tonight.